And
Thank
welcome
you.
everyone. Thanks for joining us here this morning for the campaign launch of Bank for Good, which is taking place across Spain, France, and Germany. We're delighted to have you here. Thank you so much for your interest and support. And the purpose of this webinar this morning is to take you through the plans for the launch, explain the reasoning behind Bank for Good and why we're launching it today, how you can get involved and how you can support the launch, and then plenty of time for questions at the end should you have them. And so hopefully by the end of this session, you'll have a very clear idea and be very excited about the whole Bank for Good campaign and how you can get involved. So we do have a short agenda. So we'll be introducing Bank for Good, as I just mentioned, and the reasons we're here. Joanna here, I think you have a few notes about FABEA, the
Yes.
organization behind Bank for Good. Then we'll go into introducing the campaign itself, looking through how we've built it up, kind of planned it, and the kind of creative assets that we'll have rolling out, and then how you can get involved. And next steps, which is really what happens from now on. And we're really hoping that throughout this, you're enthused and engaged and really want to join in and help make our mission happen. So thank you. I'll move on. So my name is Ben Matthews. I'm an account director for Bank for Good, so making sure that the campaign is running well. And I'm co-founder of Empower Agency, which is a marketing agency for non-profit sustainability organizations and generally purpose-led organizations. Joanna, shall I pass to you to introduce yourself, please?
Fantastic. Thank you, Ben. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you everyone for being here today on a Monday morning with us. It's very much appreciated. So I'm Joanna Galula. I think we've been in contact via emails for some of you. And I'm a project manager at FABEA. So it's the European Federation of Ethical and Alternative Banks and Financiers in Europe. And I'm a project lead, and the main project that I manage, it's called Bank for Good, which is the reason why you're here today. So yeah, I think we can go to the next slides. Yes, about FABEA. So, what is FABEA? Who are we to begin with? So FABEA is a non-profit organization. It gathers over 33 financial institutions or over 15 countries in Europe. And what's the purpose? The purpose is to develop and to promote the principle of ethical finance. So I'm sure some of you are already familiar with ethical finance, but for those who are not, I'll just take a tiny bit of time to say, like, what are the key principles? The first one is that the money has to be used for the common good, right? The second one is transparency, because banks, right, use financial citizens' money. Sorry, they have to be transparent about the use of this money to know where they invest, to who they provide loans, etc. Then the third key principles in ethical finance is the societal benefits, right? So what you do, has to have a positive impact both on the society but also on the environment. So in ethical finance, we don't choose either the protection of the planet, right, or looking after social rights. For us, these are two faces of the same coin. So whenever one of our members, whether a financial institutions or a functioning bank, invests in some activities or provide a loan, they always look at these two elements, right? Then the fourth principle is the exclusion of speculation. So it's really much a focus on the real economy instead, of speculating, which we have seen what it has gotten us into in previous year with the financial crisis. And then the last principle, it's about collaborative management, right? So within these financial institutions, it's about how you manage it in a fair and ethical way. So yeah, these are, I would say, the 5 main principles. And ultimately, ethical finance aims to empower people to control how their money is used. It also aims to support local communities, the social economy, sustainable development, and mostly really what you want to see around you, because that's really the role of the bank, isn't it? Like to finance all the projects that you see around you, and it can be, you know, your organic supermarket, it can be, you know, a sustainable brand. There are so many projects that can be financed within the scope of ethical finance. And as I said previously, it's really about using savings and investments for the common good and not just for profit. Of course, you know, it has to be profitable, but that's just one element out of many. And yes, and then the last bit about Febea, and then we can move on to the campaign. So we have our headquarters in Brussels. So whoever is in Brussels, come by, come say hi. We serve over 700,000 people, including clients and shareholders, and the balance sheet, more or less, just to give you an idea, is about 30 billion euros. So yes, move on to the next slide. On to why we're
Thank you so
here.
much, Joanna.
Thank you, man.
Excellent, thank you. And yeah, we've been really enjoying working for Bayer, and Joanna and her team have been excellent at helping build this campaign together. And so just a moment to talk about why we're here. Joanna, would you like to do this, or shall I? I'm happy to.
Yeah, you please go ahead. I'll
Thank you very much. So, as we said, why we're here. So, European banks have poured over 1.3 trillion euros into fossil fuels since the Paris Agreement was adopted. So, this money has been used to finance the climate disaster. As Joanna mentioned in some of her points there about Febea's work, firstly, your deposit goes to the European banks. Secondly, their bank is using your money to invest in projects like new coal power plants, which are destructive to the climate. The project is built. Unfortunately, you've just funded a new coal plant. Now, I think many people might not realize the relationship between these points, and where their money is deposited in banks has a direct impact in what happens to those new projects and whether they're funded or not. So the simple act of choosing where your money is kept, and we might call that Bank for Good, means that we're less likely to finance climate disaster projects. So sorry,
Ben,
Joanna, go ahead. Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, just adding to that. I think what's very interesting here, and what we have seen in several consumer studies that we run at the beginning of the project, is that, you know, consumer consciously connect their consumer habits, you know, like recycling, biking, their food choices, and even like their clothing choices with their impact on the planet. That's quite clear, let's say, for most people. But the link really between their money, where they put their money, well, their banking habits, right? With the link between that and the impacts on climate change, it's really a link that goes unnoticed, right? Which is why this project is so important, because, you know, so many of us, you know, do already so much. And then there is this big elephant in the room that we never talked about, either because we haven't thought of, or just because we don't know really like how to change it, or even if it's possible to do it, right? So yeah, this platform wants to, you know, make it easy for consumers to find banks that do not invest in fossil fuels, and kind of raise awareness around this issue. Sorry, Ben, for the interruption. Please continue.
No, it was a delightful interruption. Feel free to do it. You really add some the color to the picture here. So thank you.
Yeah.
And the solution is the Bank for Good EU campaign, which is running through France, Germany, and Spain from today. The center of the solution is a tool that helps people find a bank that aligns with their values in an easy, quick, and intuitive way. So you can see a screenshot here from the tool on the right-hand side. It's a great way to quickly filter down from the top, if you find your own country, location preference, type of account, the different features of that account that might be important to you. But then I guess what's really makes it stand out compared to other tools is the designations that it has. So of course it has Febea's mark to make sure that it's a bank for good. B Corp is there as well. And plus we have the Global Alliance for Banking on Values. So there are different ways that you can make sure that whichever bank you're looking at and reviewing and researching aligns with your values. At the bottom there, you can see that you have a list of banks that have been vetted, made sure that they've fit the criteria of a bank for good, and you're then allowed to go through to each of those to find out more about them, plus hopefully go through and move your money, as it says at the top, make your move. So it's a really excellent tool, worth having a look at it after this, and it's very easy to get to from the Bank for Good website or for Googling. And yeah, it's a great tool. Joanna, can I check if you've got anything to add there that I missed out at all?
Pretty clear. No, I think yeah, that's it.
Great. So obviously it's a great tool, but we need to let people know about it and make sure that they're coming to use it as well. So that's why we wanted to bring together like-minded people. So you people who have come here to join this webinar this morning, plus everyone else who couldn't make it that we've been in touch with, and Joanna and the Febea team have been in touch with over the past few months and years. So reaching out to those like-minded individuals and organizations to bring us together, because the more people that we have aligned together behind this campaign, the bigger the impact will be. So as we've been saying, this webinar is providing with everything you need to take part, and we've made it as easy as possible for you to take part via our toolkit, which we'll be touching on later. So thank you for coming together to be part of this, and I hope we agree it aligns with your own personal and organizational values as well. Just a little bit about Empower, you might have been hear about us, but we're an ethical marketing agency who's worked with lots of similar organizations to Febea to make sure that their campaigns are getting seen and heard around the world. And we just wanted to mention this because you might be hearing from us as we try to get you involved, working alongside Joanna and the team. So if you do hear from Empower, that's us, and we're a friendly team who are values aligned with Bank for Good themselves. So introducing the actual campaign itself. So when Joanna and her team first started talking to us about what they wanted to achieve, it was basically to launch the Bank for Good platform across key EU markets, so France, Spain, and Germany, with a regionally tailored, strategic, and creative campaign that resonates with local audiences and drives engagement with the Bank for Good platform. So the accumulation of everything has been focused on achieving these objectives. So ultimately, in the longer term, we want to make sure that the audiences we're looking to reach are switching banks. They've discovered fossil fuel-free banks on the Good Bank for Good platform, which we just took you through there. Well, we realize that's a long-term campaign. This particular launch campaign, we're looking to empower citizens and consumers to make that change, educate people on the impact that their money and banking habits has on the environment, as Joanna helpfully illustrated just previously, and present a solution that they might not have heard of. So they can come and use the Bank for Good tool and use that to help them achieve those as well. So that's what we're trying to achieve with this campaign. Lastly, we have our digital objectives, which are really how the user will engage. So we want to drive clicks, so get people from the various social media platforms, from wherever they're browsing online, across to the Bank for Good website, and really come and explore the tool, find a bank for them, and then hopefully go onto that bank and make the switch. So it's all tied together to achieve that long-term aim, but we're breaking it down into trying to achieve different parts of it together. That's what we're trying to do here. So there's the platform here. I recommend you go and have a look as well. It is tailored to each country and language. So although we have a central EU version, which is in English, there are French, German, and Spanish versions, which are all in each of their respective languages. Plus, the banks that are featured on each of those sites are, of course, linked and available in that country as well. So everything we've done here has tried to be really tailored down to every individual living in those countries, just to make sure that as many people can take part in the campaign as possible. So when we were working with Joanna and the team to take a strategic approach to this and how might we get people taking part in the Bank for Good campaign, the problem, as already outlined, is that the European banks are pouring 1.3 million euros of our money into fossil fuels since the Paris Agreement. Joanna has shared lots of insights with us and lots of research, and Febea's work into this as well, is that the audience does want to make a difference, but often they don't know this is an option, as Joanna outlined, or even how to overcome those barriers to action. So we need to educate them and help make it as easy as possible for them to address this problem. The solution is the Bank for Good platform that we hope many are looking for but didn't know was possible. Our aim now with this campaign is to get them there and let them know it is possible and they can make that change. So the creative solution behind this, which is how we show people or inspire them or engage them to actually make that change, is the unexpected. We want to capture audiences' attention and spark curiosity with the unexpected. engaging elements that reflect the surprising ease and solutions offered by the Bank for Good platform. This can be achieved through unconventional imagery, bold messaging paired with contrasting visuals, or thought-provoking content that challenges the audience to see banking in a fresh, unexpected way. So we want the unexpected to come through here, grab their attention, make them come through to the Bank for Good platform and make that change. So what does it look like? Well, sorry, the tone of the campaign first, sorry. We broke that quite large brief around an unexpected, that creative approach, down into three main areas. Impact, so impact being how you cut through and really land that message with someone. So that can be done via humor, perhaps an unconventional approach or offbeat, or via irony. You can also achieve the unexpected by being inspiring. So whether that's real life scenarios of people who have made a change, relating to people who might look like someone you know in your area, in your city, who is making that change, or via education to tell people about, inspire them about making that change happen. Then we can also have the creative itself be quite fresh and quite clean, quite impactful. So that can be via design, that can be via user-generated images. We're trying to stay away from stock images here as we don't want to look like a normal bank. And then via juxtaposition, so comparing and contrasting things. So these are the creative elements that we kept in mind, the tones that we kept in mind as we were trying to develop this unexpected campaign for Bank for Good. So here are some of the visuals of the final assets that we've arrived at. So we're trying lots of different messages, lots of different images, but always trying to reflect the values of Verbena and Bank for Good. The tone of that unexpected campaign we're trying to see. So is it impactful? Is it inspiring? Is it educational? Trying to not look like a normal bank image and trying to stand out a bit more with some humor and inspiration. So does your bank protect what you value the most? So this is using lifestyle imagery from different countries, trying to represent them, helping people identify themselves in those images, and making sure that it's where you put your money makes an impact on the things you value the most. So the yellow button that's been used on the Bank for Good platform as well is pulled through here. And you can see that we've been highlighting the most important parts of the copy through the yellow swish or the pink swish to kind of circle around it. The imagery as well is kind of inspiring or educational or fun. As you can see in the bottom left, the man jumping up and down in the puddle in his wellies. He's excited about changing his banks. And we've also, on the right-hand side here, played with the concept of time as well. So it's really easy to change your bank if you just take 2 minutes. So you can do more for the climate in 2 minutes than leaders have done in 2 years, showing the kind of deforestation taking place there. So these are just some of the assets we have in development as well that will be available in the toolkit. And I just wanted to take you through some more of the breakdowns as well. So again, this is a French version saying, translated the same, does your bank protect the things that you value the most? And then again, we're saying about how you can change in 2 clicks across to a Bank for Good. And these will be playing out across different social media channels so that people will be able to see them and engage. Personal values in German here as well. You can see it follows the same thing. 2 clicks as well, helping people encouraged to make that change. So hopefully as people see these in the feed, they'll be able to stand out. Joanna, also do feel free to jump in if you wanted to add anything else to these as well as we go through. Again, in French here, talking about coffee with friends, how you can actually make that change as well. I personally love these ones. You know, we spent a long time trying to find some imagery that really brings to life the kind of inspiration, the ethos, the fun, and hopefully this will stand out as well. So again, this is in French, German, and Spanish here, so you can see how it plays out across the different languages. And there are different variations on this theme of interacting with nature as well. Relational values, I think these are videos. Let's see if they play. Oh, they do, lovely. So we're trying to get some movement into the images as well. Use some videos. You can see the swish there behind the child's head, trying to bring this to life a bit more. And as part of the campaign, we're going to be testing a lot of these images and videos together. So do we find that this image works better than that image? Do we find that this angle or this kind of message that we're trying to cross works better than another one? How does that work across the different platforms that we're running these on? How does that work across the different countries, the different target audiences? So we're going to be testing an awful lot to try and see which ones work in particular. We've also tried different formats as well. So this is a more of a vertical asset, which is useful for mobile, useful for things like TikTok or Instagram or Facebook Reels. So you can see it's kind of a multi-platform, multi-creative, multi-audience campaign. So we're really trying to make sure that everyone is able to hear about this and feels engaged and inspired enough to click through, discover the Bank for Good tool, and make that change happen. So, as I mentioned, we're doing a promotion across paid media. We felt this was the way that we could be the most targeted across our different audiences, plus the most targeted around the specific countries, people interested in ethical lifestyles, and an easier way to understand which audiences are responding best to which campaigns as well, which type parts of the campaign as well. So it's going to be across social media, search engines, and websites, targeting different audience groups around regions. So starting with France, Spain, and Germany, age groups, as Joanna and her team have identified different motivations or messages that resonate best with different age groups, gender, interests, behavior, and more. So we'll be using paid media to help us roll this out. A bit of a preview of a breakdown here. So we want to get as much traffic across to the website as possible and use these to set benchmarks as well. Because what we want to do is show how different audiences have been responding, which is the most effective route forward, so that Verbea and other partners can make use of that information and get an idea of how the different audiences are responding. So it's a learning exercise as well. So that's what we've come up with. That's the creatives that have come together. That's the inspiration behind the campaign. We'd love to take a moment to show you how you can get involved. Now, the main thing that we've put together is a Trello board. Trello is a online tool where you can create these different kind of boards and cards. So it's like a pin board for different things. So when you visit this website address at the top, and we'll share this afterwards as well to everyone who's registered interest in this webinar, and you'll hear from us as well. You can go there and find everything you need to take part in the campaign. So there's a bit about Verbea and about the organization, which Joanne has taken you through. There's a bit more about the Bank for Good campaign, so you can get some messaging about why you should take part as well. Then you have the assets that we've taken you through just now in all of the different languages. So here you can see English, there's French, Spanish, and just off the screen to the right is German as well. So there you can click through into each individual card and be able to download them for your own channels. Because what we want to see is people use these assets across their own networks, across their own communities, because that's the way we can really spread the good work and encourage people to check out Bank for Good. Of course, if you're able to then make sure that people go back to bankforgoodeu.com or the other ones we have set up, then we'll be able to make sure that we can see where people are coming from. There's also suggested social media messages here if you want to put it on your website or email newsletters. And then there's also ones for LinkedIn and Facebook, which have a similar format, Twitter and X if you use that, and Instagram as well. So lots of assets available to you in different sizes, different formats, different languages, and some example text to help you when you're spreading it on your own networks and channels. Of course, if you did need any help, if you did have a particular requirement, if you did need messages adapting for your particular organization, then you'll feel free to get in touch with us here. We do share our contact details later, but they are also should be available here on this Trello board as well. You don't have to log in or sign up to download these. We just want to make them freely available as much as possible. And with the website being there, you're able to kind of self-serve. You're able to go and get them without having to wait for an answer from us. But again, we are here if you do need support, if you do need help in making sure you get the campaign across your channels as well. So again, we've got the link here. Please do make use of them. If you are crafting your own messages or want to help support in other ways, then please use the hashtag Bank for Good. We are undertaking some social listening, which is where we have a tool running to listen for people using the Bank for Good hashtag, so we can see how the campaign is being shared. And then please do share the campaign with your networks. If there's someone who we haven't been in touch with, but you think we should, if you have colleagues or partners in other organizations that would be interested in this campaign, please do let them know about it. We'll follow up with an email following this webinar with details that we've got here. Please send them to the website, and we'll also share the Trello link as well. So please do help us to get more people involved, and get in touch if you have ideas about how we can make that happen. So again, please do download the digital toolkit from Trello. It's ready to use. All the assets and messaging are there. Could you help amplify our message using the pre-written social post we've created, or let us know if you need help creating some as well? The hashtag engagement is there. So using Bank for Good to add to relevant posts, our team here monitoring. So if you post on your organizational page on LinkedIn or on Twitter, we'll be able to see it. We'll be able to help amplify it as well. So please do join in the conversation using hashtag Bank for Good. And then please activate your networks as well. Who in your network might be interested in supporting a campaign? Which of your own organizational digital platforms or even your personal ones would be effective at spreading the campaign messages? And then lastly, can we help you at all? Can the team at Febea, Joanna, or can the Empower team here help you at all? What do you need from us to help you share the messages of Bank for Good and encourage people to make that change and switch their banks to a Bank for Good? There are lots of ways to get involved, but please do get in touch. We do have some time for questions, obviously. We've rattled through the campaign quite a lot there. I'm aware I've been speaking quite a lot. Joanna, is there anything you wanted to add before we go to questions at all? Or if not, we can open up for questions. I'm just going to have a look at the chat window.
Sorry, my mic was on mute. No, I was just going to say, I think you have covered it all. One thing to add is that, you can really make it work depending on your needs. So, it's not that you have to post on all the platforms. So if for you, it's just on the website or the LinkedIn, whatever works for you, you can pick and choose.
Excellent point. Thank you, Joanna. I can see there's a question, but for some reason I can't quite navigate through to the Q&As
I think
that are
it's
coming in.
Philippe. Yeah, I think it's Philippe. Yeah, please, Philippe, you can come off mic and let us know a question.
I'm not
We
sure.
can't hear you.
I'm not sure if he can come off mics. We might need to.
Oh, he can't. Okay.
Might need to read it out for him. That's okay.
Yes. So maybe if you can write your question in the chat, that would be amazing, in the Q&A.
Yeah. Oh, I can see it now. Sorry, thank you. So, Paul, hi Paul, said you'll send it to us the visuals in our languages, or do we need to translate it? So we translated all the visuals into English, French, Spanish, and German. So all the assets are translated as well. So you can get them from the Trello board as well. So it should be in all the languages that we're launching in today: French, Spanish, German, and English, which covers the EU range as well. So hopefully, Paul, that gives you what you need. Paul has also asked when we can share the visuals. So from today, we'll share. Following this, we'll send you the Trello board link, or we can put it in the chat window here, I'm sure, to make sure you've got it. You can share from today. We've got our own campaign across Febea and the Bank for Good channels running from today. We'll be running that paid media campaign we mentioned. So yes, absolutely, please go ahead. Floor, thanks for joining. You've asked, can we have the presentation so that we can have the links? Absolutely. We'll make sure that you get this as well. And then Floor has also asked when the campaign starts. Same question as Paul. It launches from today. So we'll make sure that we get those links, all those assets into your hands, and you're welcome to use them as soon as possible. Joanna, is there anything else you wanted to add to there? Because I think hopefully that covers some of it.
Yeah, pretty clear, pretty clear. Larry.
Larry from Belgium has a question. Larry, welcome to the webinar. We're preparing a similar campaign with a Belgian NGO, Financité. When do you expect to roll out to other EU countries? And for that, I will let Joanna answer that.
Fantastic. So Larry, thank you very much for joining. Regarding other countries, we don't have a clear plan yet because this one is really focused on France, Spain, and Germany. It's possible that next year, I would say maybe mid 2025, we might expand in other countries. But for now, it's only going to be these three main markets in Europe.
Excellent. Flora's also asked, who do we need to contact if we want to be referenced on the platform? So I think I actually have our contact details on the next slide. So Joanna's email address is there, and my email address is there as well. In terms of being represented on the platform, I think Joanna, you would probably be the best person to go to in the first instance.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, Flo or Martinson, yeah, please, you can just send me an email and we can talk and we can do that, no worries.
Excellent. So hope that's all okay. Good questions coming in. The thing I like about the questions is when we've answered your questions already is good. So, and not having a lot of questions, I think, is also a good thing. Just keen to get involved, which is good. So yes, I'm just checking if in the chat window, yes, I might be able to change. I might be able to put the actual link in for you. So let me just find it. So, oh, just in the chat window. Sorry, I'm just putting together the link to the Trello toolkit there. Larry, you had a question there. Let me just bring that back up.
Yeah.
Your images are positive ones of happy people. Was it a deliberate choice not to show smokestacks spewing CO2 and other negative effects of fossil fuel funding? Joanna, did you have anything to add to that one at first?
Yeah, I can start, maybe you can complement. But so yes, it is a deliberate choice because there is such a high level of eco anxiety already. We didn't want to add to that. We didn't want to add fuel to that. And we have seen in our consumer studies that if you go with really kind of panic image or very negative ones, the response you might get is just a freeze response. So then people don't do anything, which is not what we're aiming at. What we want is for people to take action and to tell them, right, like there is this thing happening, but actually you have room for maneuver and there is something you can do. So it is a very much deliberate choice that we have gone into kind of more positive, let's say, images. But Ben, please feel free to add to that.
Yeah, I think so. And we are going to be looking at different kinds of images. I am aware not as deliberate as smokestacks. I think there's some research that negative messaging around climate change has the ability to turn consumers off. I think we wanted to focus on the positive change that people can make, centered on the things that they value in their life. So I think it is a valid question, and we will be looking into how effective the approach we've taken is, obviously. But thank you for your question, Larry. That's great. Philippe has asked if there is any link with Reclaim Finance. Again, I'll pass to my colleague Joanna in case she has an idea there.
Yes. So there is no link. I mean, we know about Reclaim Finance in France, but we haven't worked with them. I mean, we have been in contact with them, but we haven't worked with them on the Bank for Good campaign, which is, going, I mean, it's going beyond France since it's targeting as well Spain and Germany. And the idea is really to have one concept for Europe that's going to be the reference, and to make it easy, like to make it the easiest for consumers to find a bank that do not invest in fossil fuels today. So that has really been the main focus of the platform. So, as you have seen, two things. First of all, we have excluded like all the banks that do say that, they will exit fossil fuels in 10, 20, 30 years. So we have just taken those that are fossil fuel free as of today. So that's one thing. And also, you know, we are not comparing different banks. We are just, you know, putting the ones, you know, that are fossil fuel free as of today. But, you know, I do think personally that Reclaim Finance is a great initiative as well. Bank for Good is just another tool.
Excellent. Thank you, Joanna. Paul has asked if you have access to the PowerPoint. Absolutely. We'll be sending an email straight after this webinar. We've got the links to the Trello board there. We'll also make sure you have the links to the PowerPoint. So you're welcome to use any of the messaging in there as well to help you. Philippe has asked how to convey to the public that Bank for Good is not at all related to the banking industry. And Joanna, I think you've been keen on this point as well. Do you want to answer that one?
Yes, yes, please. So yeah, I think if I understand your question correctly, you're asking if we are financed by banks, which we are not. So this is an independent initiative project under the Fabeas banner. Sorry, but that is not financed by any of our members, nor any of the banks and financial institutions on the platform. So we have run an independent research and study to vet and check each and every one of the banks. And of course, you know, if there is a bank who wants to join the platform, they can write to us to say, you know, we would like to join, but then we will do our own research to make sure that they align with the platform and the criteria. Hope it answers your question.
Excellent. Thank you, Joanna. That's great. I'm just going to pause there in case anyone else has any other questions to add to the Q&A. Otherwise, I think on our screen, let me just share my screen. You can see Joanna and I's contact details should you want to get more involved of ask any follow-up questions. As mentioned, we'll also be sharing via email straight after this webinar links to the websites, links to the Trello board that we've talked about with the assets that you're able to use, links to the slides and the PowerPoint that we shared just now, so you're able to use those as well. And then any other questions, please do get in touch. We're here to support you, here to make this campaign a success, here to help you, help us. So please do get in touch with anything we could need at all. With that, Joanna, I'll pause there, and if just wanted to check if you got anything to say before we wrap up.
Yeah, thank you for joining on this morning. Very much appreciated. And of course, if you do have any questions, either about the platform or about the campaign, just please reach out to us. It would be a pleasure to answer your questions and talk more if needed.
Great. Thank you very much, Joanna. And thank